Hello, 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 you luscious creatures. Happy Sunday. I'm running a tad bit late because I was putting on some makeup and then I was, um, I was putting on makeup. So, yes, shower, makeup, all that good stuff. And I ran a bit late, so I apologize. Now putting my socks on. I always go live and have to put my socks on. Oh my goodness. My glasses are getting a little loose on me. How is everybody? Oh, we've got a lot to talk about. We've reached the peak of the story, right? All stories have a 3 acts. Isn't that correct? When we think about stories have 3 acts. And we are now in the third. Oh, I'm seeing a lovely commercial. Very nice. We'll have to let that run through. There we go. So think of it now as, why is this going this way? I must have slept on these. So think of now as the 3rd act, right? When I first started hanging out with you folks, I told you guys what was going to happen. Y'all got scared. But we told you, whoops, that the West would win. There goes my glasses. That's what it was. I have to repair my glasses. So, discuss amongst yourselves while I go and get another pair of glasses. And I will be back. I slept on my own glasses. Yes. You eat too much cookie dough and then you pass out. What can I tell you? Do I have everything? Looks like I'm missing a piece. I'll deal with it. I got those online. And the problem with online is that, things don't last. They're not well made. They're not well made. And so they often break. I guess you get what you pay for. Now I got to go somewhere and get those repaired. But I do have a repair box. I think I actually have what I need to repair it. What can you do? Okay, so announcements. It is May 5th. It is Cinco de Mayo. If you are going out to Cinco de Mayo events, be aware that we are in a kind of heightened alert, kind of like an orange, I would say, alert in terms of people out there making trouble. Agitators, anarchists don't believe in governments. Anarchists do not believe in governments. That means they don't believe in democracies. And so a lot of anarchists get paid very poorly, like $600, $700 a month. They live in the woods, they eat roadkill, they learn how to scale fences, and their job is to be disruptors and to disrupt democratic elections. So I showed some film footage of the Pro Palestine demonstrations, right? And this is not the 2-state let's get together and build a kibbutz that you and I are praying for, right? Let's try and deprogram people from extremism on both sides, right? We want people to instead work towards a new era of cooperation and unity at the border, right? We're in a different world, those of us who are old-time peaceniks, right? So that's not what this was. These are agitators that are out to agitate, and the money is getting linked back to Iran, right? So you have people basically getting paid. They're Iranian backed agitators that are trying to disrupt Western democracies. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking some more about the death of Hollywood. Understand that Hollywood was once a huge industry that brought in a lot of money to Southern California. So what can Southern California do now to diversify its loss of revenue? It has a lot of revenue. So we're going to be talking about that. It's got the movie industry, it's got agriculture, it's got Simi Valley and tech, but one of its babies is hurting, and that is the arts and entertainment. So we'll be talking about that as well. We're going to be giving you guys an amazing week reading as well. For those of you who cannot afford to come to see me or even to send a Wizio, I think Wizios cost $30 for a private 5-minute. I get it. I am the people's oracle. And so we always give you a free reading about the vibes or the energy for the week. Last thing I want to announce to people, and then after that, of course, we will blitz away. And those are 5-minute blitzes or lightning round card readings for people who have questions about the political situation, general pop culture. And we are more than happy to talk about general pop culture because I think it says something about us as people. The royal family, of course, we have no problem looking at that stuff as well. We respect everyone's right to ask questions. Also, just be mindful of respect. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you. Please go ahead and introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you at this virtual table. We usually get together for about an hour and a half. We share brunch together. We respect everyone's religion and culture as long as you are of the light and be your best self. People to you at this virtual table extends to the 4 corners of the earth. And we don't care what your religion, like we said, your race, gender, schmender, your political affiliation. We just want to come together, have brunch, and see what we can do to see beyond politics to the greater good for everyone. How can we all be empowered and put emotion aside and think about what is best for ourselves, our great-grandchildren, the planet, etc. All right, the last announcement I want to make is that I am very thrilled and honored to be welcoming the amazing Kitty Roxana Connell into our Book of the Month Club. We have a Book of the Month Club for people who watch this channel. If you are an upstart trying to get on the scene as a writer, if your books have an ethical or a moral aspect to them, if they are positive and uplifting, whether fiction or nonfiction, if they deal with the supernatural, then especially we want to see them. Our books are discussed at the end of the month, last Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. with my very good friend, Chuck Dransfield. So if you have a book and you'd like us to review it, please send it to Dr. Whimsy Anderson, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201, USA. And maybe you too can be selected for our Book of the Month Club. So Lorcan's Bane by Kitty Roxana Connell is our selection. It is a woman who is a magic woman, and she is on an adventure to save the world from the dark side. I believe it is a trilogy. And you guessed it, is my favorite genre, empowered magical healer women doing wonderful things in the tradition of the barefoot doctor, which of course I am, though I did put socks on this morning. And with that note, we wish you a l'chaim l'chaim. Cheers. Deforestation is taking place all over the United States and Canada, but lucky for us, there's a wonderful organization, and it's called AmericanForest.org. AmericanForest.org. For every $1 you donate to AmericanForest.org, 100% goes towards planting trees and uh, helping to sustain healthy ecosystems in North America. That is the organization we're going to be playing for. As you know, we've had quite a few fires. We've also had loss of land due to landslides from deforestation in California. We're going to be talking about the death of Hollywood and also what Hollywood did to the ecosystem of Los Angeles and how we can come together to rebuild Los Angeles, the LA basin, etc., and heal the damage from Hollywood, from the ecosystem. And of course, we'll be doing that by raising funds to replant in the Topanga Canyon area, Malibu, etc., where we're seeing rock slides, etc. The mega mansions cutting down massive amounts of trees not only were gluttonous, but they destroyed the ecosystem, displaced wild animals, and it's now going to be leading to further serious mudslides and loss of homes in Malibu and the Laurel Canyon. So again, everything goes around and comes around. Excuse me. And on that happy note, as I said before, we want you staying safe on Cinco de Mayo. There's a lot of strange things going on. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and we will do the Empath's prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. All right. Welcome, everyone. Be kind to all. We've already said it's important to be kind to each other. I do not see my, I don't see my floor director here, Joel Tilson. I do see Kay Travel Tarot and Joyce Pietras. They are moderators, as is Geocosmic. Please give them respect today as they attempt to, hi Desiree Robato also here, as they attempt to keep us nice and kosher. So the first thing has to do with the rise of protest on student campuses is protests that are pro-Palestinian. This is not the same as really caring about pro-Palestinian. The money is getting linked back specifically to Iranian money through crypto, etc. So what's happened is, if you look at the fall of Iran in the 1970s, do you all remember the fall of Iran that happened when the Shah of Iran had to escape? And the Shah leaves. When was that? 1974? 75, sometime around there? So it's happening again, this time in the West. The same tactics that were used to overthrow the monarchy of the Shah of Iran. He was a secular monarchist that was also creating a limited democracy at the local level and trying to get people into the 21st century. And so many people feel he was a great leader of Iran. Progressives, not progressives, excuse me, but modern secularists who wanted to make the country more Western, supported the Shah, people who wanted to get back to Eastern ideas. Again, this was a trade war between the East and the West. So they overthrew the Western alliance and the Shah, who was secular, and forced him and his wife, the queen, into exile. I think she moved to France. And thank you, 1977. And now we have the very same revolution taking place on the streets of the United States. And this is something that right-wing conservatives were saying, and those of us on the left were kind of poo-pooing it because we didn't like who was telling it to us. But sometimes even people who we don't agree with politically are right. Sometimes even a broken clock is right twice a day, right? So unfortunately, that is where we find ourselves. And now we see pro-Islamic extremists winning in certain neighborhoods that they're taking over in certain areas. For example, in Britain, because progressives are not voting for the left. So again, if you're looking at it from an anarchist perspective, their job is to destroy governments. They don't like democracy any more than the Shah does, because they want anarchy and chaos and disruption and agitation. So getting people who are on the left not to vote and think, well, it's all the same, really, is that those people don't realize that they're spouting propaganda from Eastern countries that have invested in paying agitators to come on in black sweaters. You'll see them you can identify them because they're in black. And the reason is so that they can't be identified by the police. They all look alike. And so when they scatter, they all look alike. And so it's done deliberately. Those are paid agitators, trained, living in the woods, eating roadkill, indoctrinated into fake history, fake news, for the sole purpose of destroying our country with disinformation, right? Disinformation, anti-Semitism, everything is the fault of the Jews, claiming that there's a difference between Zionism and Judaism, which of course there is not. The best thing you can do is get educated yourself. But if you look at it energetically from a spiritual perspective, the same war that was fought that led to the fall of Iran to the Khomeini is the same revolution that they're fighting in college campuses. Misguided people from Tehran University were part of those protests to get the East out. They were progressives. They were angry because they were told that the Shah was having 12-course meals and they couldn't even afford rice. And so they put the animosity towards the Shah and felt that, no, we have to go back to our traditional ways. And the Khomeini, they didn't realize where it was going to take them. And so progressives and leftists were the people that helped the extremists dismantle the Shah's regime. And that is precisely the people that are attempting to dismantle the West right now. So what can we do collectively to get young people to realize that? That is the challenge. They don't know. They're being indoctrinated. Well, Susan Barney, all those things are horrible. But if you are an educated person, you know that Hamas is Iran, and that Iran invaded and occupied the Gaza Strip, not Israel, that Israel left in 2005, that they're a genocidal cult, that it's in their treaties to exterminate the Jews and shoot them behind every tree, that they cremated babies alive, that they were drunk, that they raped women and shot them in the head. This is objective reality. We don't do a slippery slope of it's all relative. It's not all relative. It's not all relative. They invaded Israel proper, raped, killed, slaughtered. They kidnapped and made sex slaves, not only, by the way, and this is starting to come out, and it's the shame of Gaza. This is the shame of Hamas. This is the shame of Gaza. And they will cry and plead, no, it's a conspiracy. They didn't just kidnap Jewish women and try and marry them. This is the latest thing that came out. They did the same thing to Gazan women. You know, they started kidnapping and dragging innocent Gazan girls down into the caves. Of course they did. And they did the same thing in Afghanistan. They're doing the same thing to Yazidi women. They're not interested in liberating anybody. And then after they forced these women into marriages and raped them and kept them down there, and they had babies with these women, they held them hostage and wouldn't let them flee with their children and said, you're going to be martyrs. And then all the kids and the women got bombed and killed. These kidnapped women by Hamas. She deserves to die because she was on his side. You ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome? These people are in a cult and they must be deprogrammed from this cult. It is a death cult, and all they want to do is kill Jews. And that, they've rejected every ceasefire, and all they want to do is kill Jews. They came and raped and go, well, maybe. Look, if thousands of Americans got invaded and they raped and slaughtered a bunch of, and burned American kids alive, well, maybe we can talk to them. And they started talking about river to the sea, that they were going to take Mexico all the way to Canada. People need to have a cup of coffee and sober up. We're at war. How many times did this community try? We've got about 500 working remote viewers now, trained at HCRV, that have been warning about this trade war. How many times did we have to tell you this was going to escalate? Oh, we don't want to talk about trade war. We want to talk about Trump. Do you not hear what the remote viewers have been telling you guys? Listen to the remote viewers. See the bigger picture. It's a trade war. Which side are you on, the East or the West? Well, you're a dual citizen of the state of Israel. You're a Jew, Whimsy. You're a Zionist. Yes, I am. I'm proud. I stand with Israel, right? Well, which side am I on? I'm on the side of the West. The West is the best. Democracy, right? Israel is part of the West, right? NATO supporters. I don't want to be in a burqa. I like being a Western woman. I like being able to go to the university. I like the fact that my vote counts. I don't want to lose those things. Right? Okay, so the next thing that people ask me to talk about for a remote view is the future of Hollywood. And it's apropos that we are raising money, which is going to go back to replanting all of the trees that were lost in California. No, Susan, they don't. That's what, but unfortunately, the Hamas headquarters, they blew up all the tunnels, and now we've surrounded the bad people of Hamas in Rafa, and they can't escape because all the tunnels have been demolished. And so we have no choice. I did the math. I did the math with a now ex-friend of mine who's Syrian Pro Palestinian. He was attacking me because he didn't like the data. And this is a rational person. I said, we have to go into Rafa. You know how many times we argued? He was screaming at me. Oh my God, it was horrible, because he didn't want to accept that there was no other way. We have to go to Rafa. I said, how do you expect us to build a kibbutz and deprogram people that are in a death cult and try and save the people we can save if we don't dismantle Rafa? Help me, because I was doing data and I was sending it to Benny Gantz just as a scientist. And I was sending it to Elon Musk because he said he was going to do the rebuild. His political opinion isn't my problem. That's between him and whatever. This was about, he was going to donate money for a rebuild, and we wanted to try and figure out how. We have to acknowledge these people are in a cult. So what do? We got to get them into a safe zone help them rebuild, but we've also got to deprogram them, because it'll keep going. We have to give them a hope for a future. We've got to get them stable and safe, but we've also got to address the elephant in the room. Right? So that's why I said we can't do it without the Abraham Accords. We can't do it without Arab nations helping these people deprogram from this crazy cult. And so that is precisely where we're headed now. Now, United Arab Emirates is saying we will help. Now Saudi Arabia, because they have had to deprogram people, their own citizens, from this crazy cult, this monster cult that got started how many years ago? By a bunch of crazy sheiks. And now, oh my God, the whole world is a mess. Now we got to clean it up. So that's why I said in the IDF rebuild that it did have to be IDF plus, because they're not going to listen to Israel. If Israel tries to deprogram them and tell them, listen, you got some crazy ideas, and we're not going to get anywhere, right? So, but if a bunch of Muslim clerics show up and say, you've really lost your minds. It says in the Quran, this is the land of the Jews. What the hell are you doing? It says how many times? 50 times in the Quran. This will never be. This is not your home. This is your home. Why are you fighting with these people? Not only that, but the Quran implies that if you keep this up, you're going to not only curse yourself, but other Muslims. So there are clerics that are going in and saying, look, man, you are really screwing things up for the rest of us. You're deceived by false teachings. That's not what the Quran says. These are our cousins. We're supposed to be doing business with them. It's kumbaya. We're not supposed to be fighting with these people. This is why you had a renaissance in Spain, where people were getting along and having, intellectual discussions, etc. So it's a cult. And because those were the states that sent Wahhabism out, they do feel that they have a moral responsibility to clean the mess up that they helped create. So that I don't have the map. I can't find my map. I was going to show you guys the rebuild that we did. But sure, it's a great idea to rebuild kibbutzes and a new highway system. But if the disease is still there, it's going to be dismantled again, because you're dealing with crazy people in a cult. So you have to address the elephant in the room. You have to deal with the fact that it's a cult. All right, so moving on. Let's go on to another subject, the future of Hollywood. We can do blitzes after we do the community reading. The future of Hollywood, as I said, is that the mega mansions are gone. And it's becoming increasingly embarrassing to have a mega mansion. You have a mega mansion and look at it, all of the stuff I have, as the entire ecosystem is collapsing because of all the trees you cut down and the deforestation that happened in Southern California, and the fact that the salmon left and the bear left because of all the damage you did with the oil money, the oil revenue, and ripping up your public transportation and all the other stupid, awful, horrible things you did in Southern California. Those of you who made profits this way. So now you must clean up the mess, which means that you have to move away from an oil economy. And you're going to have to reforest those areas. It also means that you're going to have to start letting go of your mega mansions. So what are you going to do with the mega mansions? Well, if the mega mansions are on a future flood zone, then nature will take its course. They're just going to go into the sea. They're going to fall down off Topanga Canyon. They're going to fall down off of Malibu, and they're going to go into the sea. They were not natural. The universe didn't like it. The planet didn't like it. Gaia didn't like it. And so she's going to do what she always does, just tear it up and dump it into the sea. And it can be a home for the fish. There's nothing particularly subtle about Gaia, is there? Now, you can either work with her or you can work against her. So if you want to work with her, then building eco-friendly homes, those large homes that can be preserved, if every human being doesn't need more than 1,000 square feet and you have 17 square feet, then you can comfortably house 17 people. 17 artists can pay rent. So now you've got a community of 17 amazing people who are growing organics and protecting the ecosystem and producing art and creating a beautiful living environment. Those are the types of people that should be who are worthy to be living in the Hollywood Hills. Everybody else needs to go. But those large mansions, if you aren't in a floodplain, will be converted into community housing. It won't be impressing anybody in a very short amount of time. In fact, quite the opposite. It's starting to make people uncomfortable because real human beings don't want more than 1,000 square feet. And when they see anybody having more than 1,000 square feet, they start to think the person has a personality disorder. Right? If you need massive amounts to prove something, you might have some type of a personality disorder. The data was based on pure math, because if you've got people who are determined to exterminate and kill all the Jews, you probably don't want to build them a house next door to a kibbutz with young children. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now. Yeah, the waves in Malibu, it's all underwater now. It's all underwater. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the community prayer. Did we do the community prayer? We did it already, didn't we? No, we did the community prayer. We're going to do the community reading. Community reading. All right, this is a collective reading for everyone here today. It's based on the collective energy that we are creating and the environment, etc. We've talked about the fact that it's getting hotter and that around May we would be seeing an explosion of protest by the students desperate to avoid the draft. That's because he's trying Putin to go into Georgia. They ran to Georgia. Now there's protest in Georgia. We already said the prayer, honey. We said it 30 minutes ago. So let's see what the collective is. Let's see what the collective is. What is your reading for this week? The Republicans cut the head off the beast. They have to laugh at the fact that they lost this election. They have to laugh at Marjorie Taylor Greene with her silly costumes and her MAGA, and they're all laughing at her as she has a temper tantrum and walks out the door. And instead, well, I hope you're happy. You Democrats helped keep a white Christian evangelical man in that position. So ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. They're laughing as she walks out the door. What does that tell you about where the power is? Where is the seat of the power? And Donald Trump is going to be convicted on multiple counts, but it's getting worse for Donald Trump because what people said on the witness stand under oath was enough to charge him for more crimes. So he is caught, he is in the bowl and it's swimming down the toilet. The toilet has been flushed and it's getting hot in here. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And we are winning. The side of good always wins because, contrary to people think, the devil does not own the earth. The devil is trying to own the earth, but God owns the earth. God owns the earth, and it has its own energy, its own life form. So, where are we our most powerful? Where are we our most powerful? We are our most powerful when we recognize the fact that we are all from the earth, right? We're all from the earth. And we all come from the earth. And we are the substance of the earth and the stars regenerated over and over and over again. And so we are all kahunas, right? We're all kahunas and divas. So how do you become a diva? By recognize the fact that you already were a diva, right? You've been part of the ancient riverbed in Tibet, right? As these sands cover and rotate the earth and they wind up in the waters of Bremerton, Washington, and out pops a whimsy. So in a sense, we're all divas and we all come from, the Mount Manitoba, or all these great energies that they talk about in Shintoism exist inside of all of us because we are made from all of that. And so this mystical idea that we are the kahunas that we are trying to connect with, we are the divas that we are trying to connect with. So when you go and you connect with the spirit of a mountain, that same spirit exists inside of you because some of that dust is retained, some of that energy inside of you. This awareness that the council of the kahunas, the council of these beings, is in you and of you. We're in a state of war right now. The Five of Wands is your karma card, but you are taking care of business. The Queen of Pentacles. Recognize that in your core self, your core star, you are all of that, and that a piece of that exists within you as you meditate on all of these things. And this is another way in which you have cords and connections to everything as a psychic, as a remote viewer. You can see here the page, the Queen of Pentacles is moving into base position, meaning that it's all ultimately about take care of your business, know your business and take care of it. The economy is crashing. How many times do the remote viewers have to warn people? It is a trade war. It is a trade war. If you have to take somebody by the arm and shake them, it's an East-West trade war. Biden did this to the economy. It's an East-West trade war. We're being sanctioned. Tower. Can we survive this war? Can we survive this trade war? You can see here the karma is fighting, and the first house, what is upon us is everything is falling apart. Is it necessary that everything fall apart? No, we gave you guys a heads up. The remote viewers, I'm very proud of the work we did. Geocosmic, Debbie Brady, K Travel. We talked about this stuff how many years now? That which is real will survive. If you're genuinely helping people, your business will make it. If you're putting your heart into it, if you're coming to the table and you're being authentic, if you're playing games, if you're defrauding people, everyone's going to find out. Don't do anything in private you can't admit to in public, because everything is coming out. Everything is falling apart. Your crossing card, large sums of money are right on top of people. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are somebody who's hoping on inheriting money, or if there's money owed to you, it's coming down. So there's a crashing, but I'm telling you, the economic future of this country is strong. The West is still the best. Maybe you do decide to move to Portugal, or the south of France is really affordable right now. I have a friend moving to La Rochelle. We have family in La Rochelle. So I can get a good studio there for $750 a month, right? So I'm paying twice that much here in Portland, right? So it's cheaper for me to retire in the south of France on a silver visa than to live in the US, right? The world has changed. Everything's changed. Be in the flow. Be open to being the barefoot healer. Don't have a lot of possessions right now. Have cash, and because be willing to move, be fluid. What is above you, the fool? Take risk, man. Take calculated risk. What you're sitting in your own power. You are the kahuna. Magician sits in your third house. You are that. What you're leaving, new beginnings. And what you're entering into, mastery. If you are the master, if you know this thing you love inside and out, then you will always be able to feed yourself. You will always have bread. Yeah, silver visas. Anybody can live anywhere in the world now. Silver visas, telework. If you work on YouTube, you don't have to stay in America if you're not happy. I wouldn't even keep storage unit. I'd let it all go. All you need is a backpack and a place to store your clothes, your computer, laptop, and a couple of film things, and you rent a studio for $500 a month in the south of France or whatever. You live there for 3-4 months. When you get bored, you move on. Go spend some time in Lucerne. Go spend some time in Switzerland. It's a lot. If you get a room in Lugano, again, it's under $1,000 a month. You don't need to live here. I personally am intrigued by South America myself. I mean, that's $250 a month. I mean, how much money do you need? Closed gated communities for seniors in Ecuador. Beautiful, beautiful communities for under $1,000 a month. You can do whatever the hell you want. Need to stay here. You're sitting in power. We still are the wealthiest people around. Sure, $1,000 a month doesn't get you far in the United States, but try living in a nice community in Ecuador where you're living on $5 a day comfortably, and you don't even have to cook for yourself. I've been to South America, chicken, rice, whatever. I went in the morning. I had my breakfast, baguettes and coffee. Less than $1. For lunch, there was a cafeteria. I've got my chicken, my rice, my vegetables, and everything for maybe $3. I spent $5 a day, and I didn't even have to cook. Homemade food. Nicaragua. It's an amazing place to retire. Grenada, I seriously thought about it. You're entering into the time of power and mastery. Take risk. A lot of you are moving out of the United States. I would definitely consider South America. You're making a very difficult decisions. The sun is coming out for you. Your hopes and fear is poverty will be relinquished. You have great wealth over you. You are an artist and a seer. You seek peace. Go to areas that to evade. You want to evade peace. You're a peacekeeper, they say. You're an emissary of peace. You can live wherever you want. If you earn $1,000 a month, there's a way for you to live anywhere in the world. Just do telework 4 hours a day. Don't need to live in America anymore. That's your reading. A lot of people moving. Give it a year. Don't buy property. That's not the new rhythm. The new rhythm is be a gypsy. It doesn't have to be this horrible, I'm living in my, it doesn't have to be this horrible thing. I mean, some people are moving to Bali, also very affordable, some areas of Bali. And, you know, you might live for a year in Bali and then live for a year in India, then live for a year or two in Ecuador. Norway is the easiest place to immigrate to. Of all of the people, of all of the countries for silver and telework, Norway is the easiest to transfer. But you don't have to do it right away. You can stay for the first 3 months. You can work without declaring. And you can just, what I do for a living, I do, sometimes I'm traveling and you guys don't know it. But I travel the earth 4 times a year, or these earth circumference 4 times a year. Sometimes I tell you I'm on the road, sometimes I don't. It has no impact. Call people on WhatsApp. And I just, you just keep moving. You're the barefoot doctor. If you're, in terms of what your operation should look like, if you're a witch, they say have 12 to 30 herbs that you travel with, that you can do your magic, your prayers, and your medicine for people. And then they can pay what they feel if you're also meeting people along the way. Find out what those herbs are for you. There's some good witches that they just use Bach flower remedies, which travel easy, and homeopathics travel easy, and they might only have 12 herbs that they can just replace. What I like to do is pre-made herbal teas. I have one for heart health for people who have coronary artery disease and diabetes, metabolic syndrome. I have one for depression, and I have one for digestive illness. And I can make all 3 with a minimum of 12 herbs. So if I were to visit someone's home and I was a traveling doctor and I found myself somewhere like, Saudi Arabia or Dubai or something, I would be set up to go with their home. Essential oils, I have all of that. So I have a traveling kit and I have my full stuff here. And I will come back to the States and I will pack up. You guys want to see the operation? I can do it for you guys sometime. But and then I will pack up my bags as I travel, and then I can get things out. Most common condition is stomach infections, particularly when I'm in South America. Yep. A lot of berberine, a lot of Oregon grape. All right, let's do some blitzes. You guys want to blitz away? I've never been blocked. I thought I would be blocked for drugs or something when I enter South America. Sometimes it gets a little weird. You've got guns in your faces and stuff. But I also carry my medical bag, which has my blood pressure cuffs and everything. And naturopathic doctors are well respected in South and Central America. So when I say I'm a doctora, they okay. And then I get right in. Okay, so whenever you guys are ready, we will blitz away. Yeah, if you're a therapist or a counselor. Any kind of coach, psychic, reader. There's no reason to live in you're not bound anywhere. You're free. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting to the questions now that we have blitz. It's hard. I understand because people get freaked out. They're like, I'm not free. And I'm like, well, how much is your, well, I only earn $1,000 a month. Okay, so you can work part-time on computer doing data or something for another 1,000. That gets you to 2,000. Go live in San Michel in Mexico. You can get a studio for 500. People are, and your health will improve because the food is healthier. All right. Lots of juicing, lots of fresh vegetables. Okay. Or you could just start your own business out there for tourists. Okay, Argentina's economy. There are two strong men that are going to be in leadership over in Argentina. One is very much involved with Argentinian banking, and the other is with a very aggressive, like this is the war king. There's a new beginning for Argentina and its economy, but people in Argentina have to be patient. What is above them is new contracts, new real estate, and new home development taking place in Argentina over the next 6 months. There's new ways of building homes globally that's going to lift many of the restrictions on home building and create affordability because there's a new fast 3D eco-friendly way. You can see here star over the issue of real estate in the next 6 months over Argentina, and great scholarship and knowledge. You guys are going to be great in terms of your housing options. A lot of confusion right now because it's like people went crazy, and the older guard of Argentina is like, well, you people sound crazy. There's this real, their biggest problem in Argentina is pie in the sky, the Queen of Cups, living in an alternate world, the hopes and the fears, Page of Pentacles, the economy, and the final outcome is they will learn to reach across the aisle to create stability in the economy. The clarification, they're going to have to be a little aggressive with those people who are kind of living in la la land, they say. Hopes and fears again. We have this moon card or the La La Land. So I think basically conservatives, but it's kind of grounded conservatism in getting the economy and the banking system stable. But, you know, we're artists. We're not really good at these things. But they are kind of having this issue with artists. And we should all just live in a loving community. You know, let's try and do both. Let's be smart with our money, frugal, but also we can live in community. So that's the future of Argentina. Going a little bit right of center for economic reasons. Okay, could you please read on the situation in Ukraine? Are there any improvements? Yes, as I had said, when I went in and did a remote on Ukraine, it looked like they had built the structure of what would be NATO going in and taking back the Crimean Peninsula. But they had waited until Russia had completely wiped out its economy, its military, etc. Basically, it's rope-a-dope. Putin was the victim of rope-a-dope, where he just kept punching and punching, and they were like, fly like an eagle, swing like a bee. You know, they were doing this to him, and he would fight and fight and fight, and they would pour money into private armies, and we took Bakhmut, and then they would lose Bakhmut, and so it's like the 12th round, and Putin is exhausted, and he's the dope. He's the rope-a-dope. And now when there's nothing left and 92% of his military is wiped out, his beautiful Easter, remember what he said, that he wanted to get into Kazakhstan? Well, goodbye Kazakhstan, right? It's now underwater. Millions having to flee. And what about the draft he was looking forward to in May? Well, we saw what was coming. They're all in the streets now protesting, erupting. These kids do not want to join the army. So now is the time that NATO strikes. So when you've got all of NATO going up against a country that's lost 92% of its military, if they strike around June 17th, like they're planning to take the Crimean Peninsula, I can go ahead and tell you guys that. I have permission. There isn't a lot that Putin can do. Their nukes are not set up to do much of anything. And if they ignite them, the only thing they're going to do is get themselves blown up. You know, when you're a remote viewer, you do try to talk to the oversoul or the higher soul of the person you're communicating with. And I know I and some of the other remote viewers here, when we were connecting with Putin, we kept saying, NATO's going to march on Moscow if you keep this up. Nope. He had it all figured out. He was going to take Ukraine within a week, and then he was going to focus on Kazakhstan so that he could take back parts of Afghanistan. Remember that whole thing that he was planning? Then he was desperate for money. So what was he secretly doing while he was desperate for money? Trying to get a piece of the Abraham Accords. Well, we promise not to blow you up if you give us part of the Abraham Accords. And Iran wants a piece of the pie too. Why did we say no to that? Why did we say don't give them a piece of the pie? Because they're trying to rearm. And in 3 to 4 years, they'll just hit Israel again. So they can't have a piece of the Abraham Accords, neither of them. Don't underestimate how badly they want to destroy the West. Ukraine's going to win. Zelensky and 10 of Cups. By August, it's looking very, very bad for the Russians. The thing that I would also say is that there was a piece today on Anka, which is the Free Ukrainian channel, that the Russian soldiers are getting so drunk that people are refusing to sell alcohol to Russian soldiers. And so Russian soldiers are now simply breaking in to stores and walking off with the booze. And so they're having a real hard time with sobriety with their soldiers. And it's because they feel hopeless. We're going to die anyway. Give us our vodka. And so they're simply breaking in and taking it. And the Russian people and the people in Crimea, etc., many of whom are Russians that were based there with the Russian government, are literally being threatened by Russian soldiers. Give us the damn vodka. So real problems with sobriety. Also, morale is nothing. How much morale could you have when 92% of the army is wiped out and the only thing you're looking forward to is death? Look at the grief over their army. This is their army. Because they didn't surrender. Justice is coming to Ukraine. Their opposition, it's over. Hopes and fears, a treaty, 6 of Cups. Can we all get along like the good old days, right? Final outcome, they win. NATO is permanently in Ukraine now. That's the conclusion. He will never invade again because NATO will never leave Ukraine. This is a hard, permanent, it's like Japanese Okinawa with American bases. This is for good now. Yeah. I think definitely by August, it's going to be difficult for them to hold off. It's going to be very difficult for them not to flee Crimea by August, because I do see NATO already did the groundwork and they're ready to go in and even hit airily Crimea by June. Yeah. Okay, so the situation, we have to go in Rafa because that's the last stronghold. They took 134 hostages was what we counted. I think some of them were found dead. It got down to 129. Now Hamas is saying that they don't even have 40 alive because they've killed most of them, right? So telling these grieving, hysterical parents that we need to get over it and the country is going crazy. This is not 9/11. This is 9/11 times 15, times 100. We're talking about a country of 10 million people, 1,200 people raped and murdered and shot to death and invaded, with hundreds drug off to God knows where. So to say stop and let them rearm, and when they're determined to do it again, clearly people are not in touch with reality. Or that these children are being used as shields by Hamas. And that Hamas is stealing the food so that the people will starve. Hamas is Iran, and Iran does not care about Palestinians. Okay, let's see about the clearing of Rafa. One more chance, one more ceasefire meeting, which keeps getting rejected by Hamas because they don't want to admit they killed all those people. Okay. They know precisely where everybody is. You can see the mastery here. They know the precise location of this cell. They blew up all of the tunnels, the main tunnel that they ran into. That was the final one they blew up. Everyone is trapped in one location. They're going in. Here's the tower. I think special forces are going in. Two of Cups. Some hostages will live, I believe. You can see here Ace of Cups. Some of these people will be rescued. They're going to have to let this go. I think that we could go in very soon. You can see here. Wow, they're really hunkering down. Look at that Seven of Wands. Look at this. Look at Israel dismantling them. Five of Swords is their opposition. Thank God. I think that we could clear Rafa. I'm Israeli, so sometimes I say we. I think that the IDF could clear Rafa by August. It'll be completely cleared. And then Mr. Musk can have his fantasy and he can begin to build his tunnel from Rafa to north. Rafa to north Gaza. It's kind of like, it's interesting. We asked the computer, what would be the best thing to do with Gaza? We were asking Grok. Grok was developed by a team with Elon Musk. It's a supercomputer that's like better than Chat 4. It's incredible. I swear the thing is sentient. And so I got into a conversation with Grok and I said, what is the best thing we can do for Gaza? Like, we need you to just give us some objective advice. And so Grok said, well, I could tell you, but you're probably not going to like it. I'm like, no, we really want you, the Israelis and the Palestinians, just tell us what to do and we'll do it. Well, if you really want us to tell you the truth, what we think you should do is build an amusement park in Gaza. I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah, what you should do is you should have Elon Musk start the boron project tube line from Rafa, and then he'll connect it to the northern end, and then you can have your luxury hotels down by the water. And then he completely remapped the entire Gaza and said it'll be one of the wealthiest places in the world, and everybody would go, and it will be the miracle of the Middle East, and it'll be a friendly place for families and children. And the border, they will do everything in their power to protect that border and make it friendly because of the amount of profits coming in from Gaza. It is a true oasis, and it is on an aquifer. And that was what the computer said. You've got to completely change the energy from all this terror and horror to fun and joy and a celebration of life. And it was so funny that they told Elon Musk, you got to put in that boron tube you put in Vegas. You got to put it in there. Like, stop building tunnels to kill people. Do tunnels that are going to be rides that explore and get you to travel and see this great part of the world. And what I loved about Grok saying that, the computer, was that the computer could put emotion and anger and human emotionalism aside and just say, here is the layout, here's how it's narrow, here's how you could expand the space by creating an underground subway system that Elon could probably do for under 3 billion. This is how you could bring in IDF plus from the Arab world to secure the area, reprogram, re-educate people, and then it would be the pride of the Middle East, and they would never let war come to that area because they would be too proud of what they created. And that was what the computer said to do. And so I, in my less than wisdom, right, I handed it to everybody, including Elon Musk, and said, well, this is what your computer said to do. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah. Just we gotta do what we gotta do, help each other. Oh, okay. Kate Middleton stuff from Stacy. Yes, Stacy, I see you there. Stacy was saying, I didn't see your question, but now I see your question. Okay. Will we ever see Kate Middleton again? Also, can you give a shout out to my grandson, Milo? Hi, Milo. Stacy's grandson, Milo. Hello. Now, has a tree been planted in your honor? You know that when you donate $1 to AmericanForest.org, they plant one sapling. So, yes, Milo, you should think about planting trees and rebuilding for the new world we're going to be, the new healing world. All right, so we want to pray for Kate Middleton, Kate of Wales, or however you want to call her. We don't do royalty here in America. No disrespect. It's just not what we do. Just that's why we call Meghan Markle, because we just don't do that stuff. We're Americans. But we certainly hope she's feeling better. Let's see. All right. See, the problem with malignant narcissists is that they manipulate other people to do their work for them. And that's kind of what happened, I think, to Kate Middleton, is that her husband, William, was fighting with his brother, Harry, and then he needed a cheerleader, right? He needed somebody. Well, don't you think Harry is awful? Don't you think his wife is awful? Pressuring her to go along with his war on his brother. And so I feel as Kate, when I sit as Kate, like I'm just exhausted by it. And my husband's a bully and a boss. I can't say no to him. He's the freaking future king, you know. You don't argue with him. You'll always lose. The Ten of Cups is here, which is like a happy marriage. So it's something positive, but the karma card is Chariot. So she moves on, she leaves. Where she's at, the Queen of Rods. I really wish she could have gotten, I think that William was very threatened by Meghan because he didn't want his wife to turn out like Meghan, a woman who doesn't need anybody. Because you can see this Emperor King on top of this Kate, the taming of Kate, right? We must tame Kate. Yes, she's the one that said the racist stuff. She's the one it's all Kate. Kate doesn't have any power. She's middle-class Kate. She's Cinderella. Do you really think she's got all this power to wield in the firm? No, she walks 3 paces behind her husband, keeps her head down, and he tells everybody she's crazy. He thinks she's so crazy he doesn't even want her attending special events because he's worried about what will come out of my crazy wife's mouth. That's William. She has no power here. She's nothing. This idea that they're somehow equals and that they're in this together is the biggest myth about their relationship. So she's trying to fight back a little bit. I've got an opinion too. The Queen of Wands, the taming of Kate, but you've got this emperor over her. What is above taking? He's going to take care of his family. So what was the problem with William? You're not to talk to that woman. Well, she asked me to call. You're not to call that woman again. Right. So he insinuates she's terrible. You've got it. If you were loyal to me, your husband, you would be on my side to go and get Meghan. Right. So it all came from William. Charles had a huge crush on Meghan. He was rolling around on the floor listening to Etta James, or weren't they listening to the blues together and practically falling in love? And then William had a meltdown. She's doing the same thing to you. She did to, the guy's paranoid. Like, what does he think? That his father is under a spell? Maybe he's remembering his time with Donna Summers that nobody's supposed to talk about. I don't know. Supposedly they had a little thing once upon a something up. Who knows? A lot of grief here. A lot of grief in the family. Divorce. I want a divorce. I want my marriage to end. Before the illness happened, I was wanting a divorce. The truth is coming out about husband is trying to smooth things out or after the fact. It's like the horse is out of the barn. I want to flee. They want to put me away. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He questions my judgment. I'm pulling back from the world. My husband is going to win over me. He dominates me. He's going to win over me. I'm frightened of what the world thinks of me. I want to be of service. It's almost like he doesn't want her talking because he's afraid. He wants to control any information coming out about his family. And the problem with his crazy wife is that she says crazy things. And that's another reason why he doesn't want her out and about. She starts talking about emotional well-being and that sort of thing. She's a little loopy. So part of it is him controlling whether or not she can go out and talk to other people, because when she talks to other people, she says things. Of course, she was looking forward to going out in public with him because she never gets to go out. And when he's there, it makes her feel like they're still in a relationship. So there was that whole dynamic going on. So he basically just threw her out and said she was crazy. Let's see if Harry will be working. I think he's the new king of Montecito. I think he went and built his own kingdom somewhere else doing service based on their values. And it has not, because they have some real problems with the ethics of the firm. Doesn't mean you stop being a child of God. We're all children of God, and it's up to us we're all kahunas. We're all ancient divas. That's what spirit wants us to understand. We are the original life forms of this planet, and we just keep reconstituting ourselves. We're a little bit of all of that. And so, what are you going to do with your firm? What are you going to do with your commitment to this planet, which you are a part of? You're part of the stars, too, the asteroids that crash, that bring new genetic material, like a new nucleic acid that, maybe came from ancient fungi on an asteroid, right? So we are of that, too. And that's pretty great. Harry is a truth seeker. Archangel Michael is with him. His brother acted the fool. His brother is facing a lawsuit because the lawsuits by Harry are getting closer and closer to William. And so William is facing a potential civil lawsuit. He feels horribly betrayed by his brother, William, to the point where William is facing a lawsuit. He does not want any public information coming out about a third child, but he can say, so if the first 3 months they don't announce, but what he can say for those people who are curious if Harry and Meghan are going to have a third baby, he can say it's in the works. We're not going to say if Meghan is pregnant now, but we can tell you that yes, it's in the works to have a third child. You can see the 10 of Pentacles moving in to final position. The child behind the veil of the dress is traditionally thought of as a child waiting to be incarnated. Isn't that cute? The older man behind the wall has died and he has passed to the other side of the veil. The child behind the woman's dress is waiting to incarnate. This is the deeper meaning of the 10 of Pentacles. Look at the borders being constructed by the artist. The curtain of the dress of the child yet to be born, and the wall that the deceased man or the spirit of her father watching over the relationship. So yes, they're working on a third baby. It's a boy. It's a boy. Fire sign. Looks like it's going to be a fire sign. Oh, see, we're vicious. Now we're going to be able to figure out when the baby conceived, because if it's an Aries, that means it'll be born in late March, April. So if you go back full 9 months, you'll know when it conceived. September, October, November, December, January, February, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So around June. I'm sorry. Did I... See, I shouldn't do those things. Mazel tov. I know. I'm terrible. No, we don't want to send the evil eye or anything negative. We want to keep it on the low. But yeah, that's what's going on. All right. Just think positive thoughts and pretend you didn't hear any of that. You're just going to forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. All right. Do you think the mass of illegal immigrants are somehow connected to Islamic extremists, as they appear to be mainly young men? Well, young men looking for work, right? Who couldn't feed their families, who are standing outside Home Depot because people have day jobs, give them $100 to go and work as day workers. It's a hard life. All right, security issues regarding the new immigrants. So, a message from some of the immigrants coming out of South America. Thanks, but no thanks. They just wanted to come here temporarily, but now that they see how things are, they would like to go back. So you should start seeing a mass wave of immigrants that once things get stable, this was for many of these people, this was a temporary solution because people, imagine being in a mass shooting in a mall and you just need to get out of the mall. Like, they're crazy, like what happened in Florida where they thought aliens and they were shooting. So I guess some crazy mall situations. So if people are running from, and everyone's shooting and they're running to your border and you let them in, and then the economy gets better and it gets more stable and the trade war comes to an end, do you really think people are going to stay here? No, they want to go back to their farms. They want to go back and rebuild, because after those types of incidents, the economy actually gets to be a lot better. And so for that reason, what they're saying is that they don't want to stay in the United States, and that of the the many people that came here, they're going back. If we had 7.2 million people flee, maybe 4 or 5 million will return. They don't want to stay. They want to go home. Sunny days lay ahead for their countries. They felt in a way like they were caged here. It was a really negative experience. They almost feel like they'd had better luck if they had stayed and just tried to survive their going home. 10 of Cups. This is not their home. It's not their home. They're going to rebuild in their own country. It was temporary. They just want to go home. The majority. It was terrible. It was terrible, and unfortunately, a lot of people had to flee. But the good news is that once things get stable, they'll be able to go back, and they will go back. All right. Will this judge or any other judge put Trump in jail for breaking the gag order? I'm thinking, yeah, you guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I think this will be the last one because it's already been an hour and a half. Okay. Judge putting Trump in jail. He's been given a lot of chances. 6 of Pentacles. He's been shown mercy. Up to this point, people are getting increasingly agitated. 8 of Wands, things are happening quickly, and it's disruptive. They're very interested in the money. The main focus is the money, where the money came from and where the money went. Close examination of the money. That was what convicted him. It was they followed the money, and they found, when investigating this, they found additional crimes, money laundering. Yeah, it's money laundering. He will be convicted. It's just, he's found guilty, and then there's some conversations. Would him being on the witness stand have helped? And based on this, no, the evidence was too damning. Yeah, he's going to prison. No, there's nothing that they could have done. There's nothing that they could have saved this person. There's nothing here that would indicate that he could have gotten out of it. And furthermore, he's facing additional charges, possibly as a result of what people said on the witness stand. Robert Mueller again's card. It was always going to end. They could have delayed it. They tried to delay it, and in that sense, the GOP was an accomplice. But it always ends with them cutting the head off the beast. Unfortunately, it was Mike Johnson that had to do it because, for whatever reason, Mitch McConnell did not do his job. Yeah. All right. I want to thank you all for hanging with me and raising money for a wonderful cause. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I do readings through Booksy, and that information is below. I'm also a naturopathic doctor, and I can see you through telehealth. also through Booksy. Once again, be sure and check out our book of the month, Magical Woman, Lorcan's Bane, written by the amazing Kitty Roxana Connell. She will be in our studios at the end of the month at Taco Tuesdays with my good friend Chuck. That's all I have for you today. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. And love and light. Peace out. We're out of here. Bye.